I went to the doctor recently, and my cholesterol is bad. It's very, very bad. Like, worryingly bad. Not like super worryingly bad, but enough that I need to make some actual changes. I need to eat more vegetables, which is tough because I don't know if you've ever eaten a vegetable before, but they don't taste good. And I thought this might be a good opportunity to, like, shock my system and just get used to having more vegetables up in there. Maybe, like, stop thinking of them like they're a chore and start thinking of them more as food. I've decided that for the next 6 months, I will not be eating any meat. I'm going back to the doctor for a follow-up appointment around then, so I will make a video after that to talk about how things went. That is, if I survive! I have so little clue what I'm doing here that I'm actually a little afraid that I'll mess up and, like, I don't know, starve by accident. Like, I don't even really know what I'm afraid of, but I'm afraid I'll do it wrong. And growing up, I always had this little thought in the back of my head that people who didn't eat meat were correct. I mean, I knew I couldn't do it because meat is delicious, but it was still like a sense of like, okay, but they made the correct decision, and I'm over here making the weak, obviously wrong decision, but it's worth it because yum. And I always felt that they were correct for like a dozen different, fairly obvious reasons. Most of the time, whenever we discuss vegetarian diets, it always circles around the topic of animal rights, and I do think that that is a worthy and nuanced discussion to have. But even if we take the entire subject of animal rights and we just push it away for a second, there are still a lot of good reasons to, at the very least, reduce the amount of meat we consume. The meat industry is famously a huge contributor to global warming. Meat production takes up a really big footprint land-wise, and that means we have to cut down a lot of trees. Refrigerating and distributing meat takes a lot of energy. And in general, it feels like we need to start moving away from our current model of food production. I'm not saying we need to burn it all down. Obviously, this is going to take a lot of time, and it affects everyone. But it does seem like it's going to be super helpful in the long run to start moving toward a more sustainable model of feeding people. And a great place to begin with that is going to be finding alternative sources for our proteins and vitamin B12s, etc. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. And so I'm going to take this as an opportunity to learn about what that future might look like. That possible future that involves significantly less meat production. And so what is that going to look like? Well, I'm specifically cutting out meat. I'm not cutting out all animal products. I'm still going to be eating eggs and honey and milk. Well, actually, my body kind of decided for me that I can't have milk anymore, but eggs and honey are still on the table. I've been hearing that eggs are a good way to get vitamin B12, which I understand is much more of a concern when you're on a vegetarian diet. Honey is important because it's the thing that makes tea taste good. Also, I get free honey because my dad's a beekeeper, and I can't turn that down. I don't think that a small batch of hives run by one retired man in the Midwest is really that bad for the ecosystem, all things considered, so I'm not going vegan. Honestly, I'm not really sure you can say that I'm going vegetarian, at least not in the strictest sense of the word. If I'm at a restaurant and they cook their dishes in animal fat, then that's still fair game as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to interrogate every single ingredient in everything that I eat. Massive respect to you if you do, but that level of strictness that's not for me. Also, let's be honest, when I go to my parents' house for Christmas, I'm going to eat whatever my mom made for dinner. I don't have it in me to say anything but thank you when my mother hands me a plate on Christmas Day that she made for me. I don't care what's on it. In general, I'm making this as easy on myself as humanly possible, because I want to succeed. And it is really, really easy for me to set ridiculously high standards when I'm in the planning stage, because like, hey baby, it's the planning stage, it's all hypothetical. I don't have to deal with any of those pesky, difficult realities yet. Spirit fingers. But when you do that, then it gets really, really easy to get overwhelmed by the unrealistic standards you've set. And on the other hand, if you set the standards too low, then you'd never feel like you really accomplished anything. And I think no meat for the next 6 months is right in the Goldilocks zone of easy enough to do, but difficult enough that it's going to take some actual discipline. And I'm just talking to future Silas now. Future Silas, Please remember, it is completely okay to set very small, very manageable goals for yourself, rather than focusing on being the most perfect version of yourself as quickly as humanly possible. The world does not get better when one person does everything perfectly. The world gets better when a lot of people imperfectly do what they can. Speaking of, if you are at all interested in joining me in doing this for the next 6 months, then I think that would be super cool. You don't need to do the exact same diet that I'm doing. Everybody is different. Everybody has different needs. You should do what's right for you. Also, you should absolutely consult a doctor before you make any major dietary or lifestyle changes. I want to remind you that 5 minutes ago, I said I was worried I would starve by accident. I don't know, starve by accident? But if you feel safe and comfortable joining me in this, I would like to talk to you about it. I am also very interested in advice. I want to know what some common pitfalls and mistakes are. I need help with this, and I know that you can help me. I have been to a lot of open mic nights, and if amateur comedians are to be believed, then vegetarians never shut up about being vegetarian, and now is your chance to prove them right by never shutting up at me. I need it. I need to hear what you have to say. I'd like to hear what you have to say. That's me if I was company man. Recipes, YouTube channels, random advice in my Twitter DMs, have at it. I am wide open to pretty much anything regarding meatless diet stuff right now, so let me know, and I'll let you know how things turn out in April. Let's be real, it's gonna be way later than that. It takes me forever to make videos.